You. What it do? Back with another installment on the best next move. I can appreciate that. How everybody doing, man? Everybody living good? Everybody doing good? How's the family? How's the kids? How's the dog, the cat, the rats? Say no, fuck me. Listen, man, we really want to get into this particular day. We're going to be talking about some good shit. And I want you to stay along right there with me. You don't want to miss it. Boom. So one thing I want to cover shooting straight off the bat. There's a formula to figuring this shit out. All right? There's a formula to figure out what your money should look like. All right? We're going to break it down. If you don't have a pen, voice record. You don't have a pen, record me. If you do have a pen, write this shit down. Okay, I'm gonna pull out my calculator so that we can communicate this the right way. Now I'm gonna be using numbers that's pretty simple. Like let's just go for 3,800. Let's say your monthly income after taxes is $3,800. Okay, following me? Good. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to multiply that 3,800 times 0.55. That comes up to $2,090. What you get out of that is your essential spending. That means like your housing price, your groceries, things of that nature. Everything that, falls under the essentials that you need to live. That's how you get that out of your net income every month, okay? So there's no more guessing. There's no more like, oh, I think I'm supposed to spend this, or oh, I think I'm not supposed to spend that, or I'm going to spend that because I feel as though I got it. Like, this is a blueprint, an understanding on the guidelines for you not to fuck yourself. Excuse my language. For you not to mess anything up. Next, we're going to take 3,800 times 0.05. 190 is what you should hit. Okay? 190 is your guilt-free spending. This is off of 3,800 net. Okay? Not gross. Net. You got 190 of guilt-free spending. So you can go ahead and spend $190 on anything you want out of that month. Split that up. You feel me? For the first 2 weeks, you got this. Weekly, bi-weekly, whatever you feel comfortable with, or monthly. Like me personally, I like to get oxtail from Golden Crust. I love it. It's about $29. You get what I'm saying? You know what you can spend your money on so that you don't mess anything up. Got me? Let's move on again. 3,800 times 0.1. $380. This is important. Hear me out. You got $380 to take care of all your debt payoffs. So if you got credit cards every month, and you know how they say minimum payment, okay, see where this falls at in your debt category. Pay it off. Now, let's say, for example, you don't have debt. Then you use that same $380 to go ahead and put towards what? Investing. Anything that's going to make you a return on your money is investing. Me personally, I like to see a 10% gain on my money. Bare minimum. We'll get into that too. Next, 3,800 times 0.15. Okay, you should come up with $570. That's short-term goals. Anything that falls in the category of vacations, anything falls in the category of trying to get you a new car, you know what I'm saying? These are short-term goals that you put to the side every month. $570 that you can put towards the side every month. All right. So that you can go ahead and make sure you got something coming down the pipeline that you are looking towards. Remember, we're talking about planning. We're planning our future by knowing what the numbers are before we even get there. Cool. Next, we're going to do it again. 30 and 100. This is the example. Times point 15. Another $570. This is for long-term goals. This is long-term wealth goals. This is, I put my money into any type of annuity that's going to yield me a certain type of money in return. Okay? Like an index fund. Like more like the S&P 500 or anything that tracks the S&P 500 or anything like that. You go into Fidelity, you do your research, you figure out what's tracking this, what's tracking that, and then you put your money in that account. And every month, you make sure you put a deposit of $570 in that account. Got me? These is a blueprint for you to go ahead and say, okay, this is what I make. This is what I can spend. This is what I can keep. You make some tweaks along the lines to figure out what fits your situation much better, because you may not have any long-term goals at this particular moment. You may be trying to get out of survival mode. So that long-term situation can go towards some debt. Switch it up, figure out which one works for you, and then you're able to take that and go somewhere with it. And this is how you become financially free. And then out of all this, from the beginning, like I told you, we analyzed where the fuck we want to go. We took accountability for what we did wrong. We planned for what we're trying to achieve. And what's the last one? We locked in. With the blueprint of your money, with the blueprint of what the diagram of how to get yourself out of a situation, bam, you got it. Execute. Next thing I want to talk about is fear. A lot of us has a lot of fears and doing a lot of things, especially if it's brand new. Anything that's new to us, it gives you that jittery butterfly. I don't know what is going on. How can I overcome this? Should be your question, which is a great question, because it starts to work, right? Well, let me give you something. Fear in anything in life, anything, fear is insight to your answer. Okay? Matter of fact, let's look up what insight meaning is. Okay? Let's first look at the definition of fear. Definition of fear is a natural or strong, unpleasant emotion caused by a real or imagined threat to your safety, health, or well-being. All right? Now let's go ahead and look up insight. Insight is a deep, clear, and often sudden understanding of a complex situation, problem, or person's inner nature. So what I'm saying is, you have a fear about something. I want you to research that fear to get the insight in it. You may not understand your bread. You may not understand who to talk to. You may not understand what's good for your life. Anything like that is a fear. But you did the work already by saying to yourself, this is my fear. I want to have insight of the fear, so now let me go find all the literature about my fear. Let me find all the literature about what I need to do to help me overcome this fear. Whether it's trauma within your childhood, whether it's relationships, find your insight with the fear and go get it. I'm telling you, you'll feel much better. Your confidence will grow, and you'll say to yourself, I got this. So now that we have gotten to the place of, you know what to do with your money, you know what you're trying to do with your money, you know what your threshold is and where you can go, where you can't go, your boundaries, right? You gave yourself boundaries. Now let's talk about what we're going to do with the money once we get it. And 9 times out of 10, a lot of people like to purchase shit. Well, let's go into these two categories of purchasing things that are essential for life: housing, transportation. Now, this is just my opinion. Like I said before in my previous video, these things are something that you don't actually need. They're wants. This is what makes you comfortable. But let's give you some guidelines about what it is on how to achieve that in the most safest way possible so you don't hurt yourself. And we're going to differentiate the most, right? Let's first start with purchasing a home. You don't necessarily have to purchase a home. You can rent a home. You can live with family and friends. Whatever is going to be better for your situation. You know your situation. Me personally, my opinion is that I like renting. And I did a lot of research. Most of millionaires, they don't own their stuff. They rent it. It's a liability to own. Let me say that again. It's a liability to own things. It's an asset whenever that you use someone else's own that they own, and you use what they have for your own personal benefit. So for example, when purchasing a home, I recommend you do that with a partner. Someone that, one person is covering this part, another person is covering this part, and you guys come together so you don't actually fall. Especially if in a situation you're trying to grow. Most importantly, get rid of that if you don't need it. Move back home with moms. Move back home with dad, grandma, grandpa. Pay a little something, but it ain't a lot. You're still able to keep things together in a safe way so you don't hurt yourself, and you can see your growth as your plan develops. I prefer, me personally, renting. I like renting because when I rent things, it's not mine. I can give it back. If something's wrong with the shit, get it fixed. But remember, with housing, location is everything. So you want to think about things as far as, where's the nearest Walmart? Do these benefits come with certain things? Do I have pest control? Do I have security? What type of security do I have? What type of school system is around? There's a lot to consider when it comes to renting a space for you to have. And I want you to do it in the most realistic way so that you don't feel as though, I don't know about this. No, you know about this because you did the research and it matches your criteria for your life. You're a person with no kids. Check this out. You can get the cheapest rent possible. Why? Because look, you're not looking for no school system, and just make sure they got pest control. Because look, cheap rent, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna have some issues, but that's fine. You litigate those issues with certain things like mouse traps. You know what I'm saying? Make your experience there work for you. Don't give up and look for the comfortability for the more price because you don't want to deal with these things. We're trying to grow. So we got to do some things that's not going to allow us to be comfortable at this particular moment. I love when I can just call a motherfucker and be like, look, something's broke, fix the shit. Ain't coming out of my pocket. I pay you one fee a month for you to take care of anything that I ask at that particular moment. That's why I like renting. And I do keep in mind, like, because I have a kid, where's his school system. I love the fact that within a 12-month period that I can get up and leave. So say, for example, that school isn't working for my son for that particular year. I'm going to not live there in that particular zoning, and I'm going to find another place that helps my son and helps his career. Helps his mindset and elevates him because I have more control of me and what I'm doing because I'm renting. Okay, think about that. purchasing anything like a car, your bike, any of that stuff, I went over the diagram of how much you have to work with. Make sure it fits in that budget so you don't hurt yourself. Next, I personally feel as though any car that you're going to buy, look at your area code, where you live, where you work. If you're in a sunny community, a sunny town, whatever, country, state, whatever. Okay, rear wheel drive is fine. You can save yourself a couple bucks. You don't need all wheel drive. All wheel drive is for me when I'm over here on the East Coast, Maryland, DMV. We get crazy weather every 10 minutes. It's important that you look at certain things like that. It's important that you think about, one brand car I love the most that a lot of people sleep on? Subaru. I have a mosquito in here. Oh my God. When I find him, I'm going to murk his ass. Because this is not the first time. I thought it was outside. Fucking bitch. Anyway, Subaru. I fucks with Subaru, man. I like Subaru a lot. What I like about Subaru is that all their cars are all-wheel drive. Period. They were born that way. They made it that way. They don't even think about altering their system. The complexity of it is that it comes with an engine that not a lot of mechanics know about. It's called a boxer engine. It's the same engine design that's inside a Porsche. It's like a box. But don't get me wrong. What these people prioritize, I want you to remember this. I'm going to write it down real quick. You guys remember that diagram where they be like good, fast, and cheap? And you can only pick two? Well, I want you to prioritize good and cheap. That motherfucker ain't going to be fast. Subarus was never fast. But they were built very fucking good. They were built good. They're not cheap. They're cheap to a certain point. You know what I'm saying? You can find a used one between $1,500 to $3,000. You'll be fine. Real shit. Regular maintenance. Keep up on it. I like to think about, when I think about buying something, I like to think about who probably had it before me. When I think about a Honda, I'd be like, and it says from Maryland, I'd be like, he was smoking, drinking, hitting a lot of potholes, didn't give a fuck. When I think about Subaru, I'd be like, oh, okay, they probably was in the countryside. They drove on the highway, back and forth to work. They was a structured individual. You get what I'm saying? And then you keep that same philosophy when it comes to going up a level. Like when you think about, okay, I went to Honda. Okay, I want BMW. Yeah, not. A lot of people get that joint and they be like, I look good, but I ain't paying the price for looking good. You know, like it could, those things, those plastic parts inside them, it looks beautiful. You ever notice that the prices on them things for resale value is so cheap? They lose their value so much. But at the beginning when you brought it, it was expensive because it was a look. But don't mean the interior and things like that is going to hold up over time. Now, when we get to a luxury version of a Subaru, you'll say to yourself, damn, that's a good question. What would be a luxury version of a Subaru? Of that type of caliber, like luxury I would say Lexus. Lexus. For sure. Lexus has the dependability and the look of a nice car. It's still inexpensive than its competitors like BMW and Mercedes, but their parts are made from Toyota. You get where I'm going here? Cost of ownership, how we're going to be reliable, how we're going to stay afloat, how we're going to keep doing things. Bam. Lexus is not bad. Now, if you really, really want to do it, go domestic. Domestic, I'm starting to like Chevrolet a lot because I look at how the police department has decided that, hey, we're going to buy these cars that are mass produced. They have a lot of parts, and whenever something is, whenever there's a lot of supply, right? Whenever there's a lot of supply, the price is usually cheaper for whatever you're dealing with it. Because you don't, it'd be like, okay, well, I can get more of that. I don't. People are more competitive with the rate, so they can buy it from them. You get what I'm saying? So it's a nice result out of that. I like domestic vehicles for certain applications in my life or what I'm trying to do. If I need a commuter car to go back and forth to work, it's not nothing flashy. It's not nothing that it's gonna. If something breaks, I know that it's easy to be replaceable or anything like that. Domestic, you know what I'm saying? But that Subaru, dog, top fucking tier. They got wagons that got like a frameless window. We talking about luxury shit in these nice premium ass commuter ass cars. Panoramic sunroof on some of these wagons. You look at the Forester, dog. The bottom line is that it's all wheel drive. It takes regular gas. It's going to be easy to insure because it's not typically a sports car or anything like that. It's a commuter family vehicle. It's labeled like that in the system. You're going to get great rates. You're going to get great returns. This is what this is about. So we went over some of the things that are essential for getting to the next day, helping us to have a smooth transition in life so we can continue to build. And that is a great installment for today. We'll go over some more things in the upcoming videos, but I love the fact that you guys are sticking with me. Like, comment, and subscribe. I will start getting Twitch on soon, but I really want to do that once we get this message out there. And then we can start getting the live stuff going on where you can see me at work. You can see me behind the scenes. You can see people that's rocking with me, how we moving, things in that nature. And I really hate the fact that they are pushing GTA 6 back again. I don't like you, Rockstar. I don't know why you doing dumb shit like that. But you need to get that shit under control. Until the next time, peace.